So I like watching videos about real life mysteries, like mysterious disappearances or the BuzzFeed Unsolved. I like how they make you feel like real life has nothing to envy to even the best of Sherlock Holmes. And recently I thought I may as well make a video like that. But to make it more interesting, we are gonna look at mysteries before the year 1900. The Man in the Iron Mask. The Man in the Iron Mask was a man who was arrested in 1669 by King Louis XIV and subsequently transferred to various prisons. What makes his imprisonment different from others at the time, however, is that he was never allowed to show his face to anyone and had to wear a mask made of black velvet or iron to protect his identity. Another strange thing about him is that he was treated well by his jailers and was given fine clothes, books, and even musical instruments. Strange taking into account the usual cruelty of the time. He died in 1703 and was buried under the fake name of Marjorie. If this case sounds familiar to you, it's because a DiCaprio movie was made about it, in which it said that the prisoner was the king's twin brother, who was imprisoned to prevent him from claiming the throne. A theory, in my opinion, quite fanciful. It is also said that he could have been an important foreign politician, and if his identity was known, some neighboring nation would demand his release. Spontaneous human combustion. This one is the kind of thing that gets you paranoid. Basically, there have been many cases where a person suddenly sets on fire without any cause. The cases date back to the 17th century and involve people of different ages, genders, and health conditions. For example, we have the case of Polonus Borstius, a knight who allegedly exploded in front of his parents in 1470, and Nicole Millet, the wife of a Parisian innkeeper who burned to death while she was sleeping. There are theories that relate this phenomenon to alcoholism, obesity, and stress. However, none of these theories can really explain it. Oh, okay. Well, the tomb of Alexander the Great. When a great leader dies, his body often becomes a revered sight by his followers. This is why the CIA tends to throw the body of important criminals to the sea so that they won't become a human altar. This is what happened for centuries with the body of Alexander the Great. We even have accounts of Julius Caesar crying like a baby on his tomb for not achieving anything significant by the age of 32, that was when Alexander died. However, after Egypt was conquered by the Romans, because if you didn't know that's something that happened, his body vanished from the historical records, and even to this day we have no idea where it could be or what happened to it. The 9th legion. In Rome, the military was divided into various legions, being the 9th legion the oldest and strongest of them all. That was of course until it vanished from existence after being stationed in Roman England for an important mission in the 1st century AD. It is theorized that the legion may have been dismantled under orders of Emperor Trajan, who feared that they would stage a coup d'etat. You know Emperor Trajan, always so paranoid. The Green Children of Woolpit. Now this one was actually the story that motivated me to make this entire video, so you better pay attention because I'm about to go full narrator mode. One day in 1135, while the villagers of Woolpit, England, were harvesting their crops, they heard a strange noise coming from one of the pits they used to trap wolves. They went to investigate and found two children, a boy and a girl, lying at the bottom of the pit. The children had green skin, wore clothes made of a strange material, and spoke a language that no one could understand. The children also refused to eat anything except raw beans for several months until they gradually adapted to normal food. The boy became sickly and died soon after, but the girl survived and learned to speak English. She told the villagers that she and her brother came from a land called Saint Martin's Land, where everything was green and there was no sun, only a dim light. She said that they followed the sounds of bells and suddenly found themselves in the Woolpit. The girl grew up to be a healthy and normal woman, except for being basically She-Hulk. She married a man from King's League and took the name Agnes. I know probably 90% of these never happened. Let me live in my fantasy world. Thanks. The Sea Peoples. So I obviously like history, I mean you probably have already figured that out by now. And when you look at the evolution of human society, the graph, it looks something like this. As you can see, it's always going up except for these two moments, where humanity actually went backwards. Now, this one is the fall of Rome, boring, we all know about it, but this one over here is known as the Bronze Age collapse, and it's very interesting. You see, everything was going smooth in the Mediterranean. They had figured out slavery, they almost figured out that it was bad, and then suddenly what is referred to in history books as the Sea Peoples attacked and destroyed every single important kingdom and city of the time. They were formidable warriors and skilled sailors who used advanced weapons and tactics and managed to bully humanity back into its nomadic days. After doing that, they just disappeared from history without a single clue of where they even came from in the first place. Probably Peruvians. Romulus Disappearance. You probably already know the story of Romulus and Remus, the two brothers who founded Rome and were raised by a wolf. What you probably don't know is that one of them disappeared. According to ancient sources, one day while Romulus was reviewing his troops in the Campus Martius, a sudden storm with lightning and thunderclaps arose and a thick black cloud hid him from view. When the storm cleared, Romulus was nowhere to be found. Some nearby observers said that he had been swept away by the tempest and that they heard a voice saying that he had been taken to heaven by his father Mars. Others, however, said that he had been killed by his generals, who then threw his body into the river. Of course, the Romans preferred to believe the first option, although given their history, yeah, Caesar probably wasn't the first one, if you know what I mean. The Voynich Manuscript. If you wanted to write a book, you would probably write it on things that exist and in a known language. I think you see where I'm going to. The Voynich Manuscript is a 240-page book that is written in an unknown language and contains illustrations of plants and animals that don't exist. The manuscript was discovered in 1912 by a Polish antiquarian who bought it from a Jesuit college in Italy. He claimed that the manuscript was written by the 13th century English friar and scientist Roger Bacon, and that it contains secrets of alchemy, astrology and medicine. However, he could not decipher the text or prove his claims, and neither could anyone else who tried to study the manuscript. Now, I know what you're thinking, but actually what we do know is that the book must say something, and not just be scribbles that make no sense, since the alphabet it uses, although unknown, follows the grammatical rules of a real language. For example, short words are more common than longer ones.
My microphone just died, I'm not making a conclusion, bye.